Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. We've got a whole new project here, this time doing some Cyberpunk style environment art in Unreal Engine 5. All for your viewing pleasure and inspiration. This is going to be more of a laid back video where I just talk about the level art design process. The finished renders are going to be at the end of the video. Let's get into it. I've been wanting to make a scene like this ever since I heard CD Projekt Red mention the fact that they're making the next Cyberpunk game in Unreal Engine 5. The build was done with assets by Leartes Studios. I reached out to them to make sure I'm pronouncing that right. They have a whole library of assets ready to go for Unreal Engine, and I'm pretty psyched about them. Today I'm making use of their absolutely gigantic and appropriately named Cyberpunk Giga Pack to kitbash together a scene here. Even more exciting is I've got a link for you guys to save 30% off of anything from the Leartes Studios collection using my link in the description and code DrakeMakes30. It's a custom code and everything. How exciting is that? Really happy to be able to share this deal with you guys, so if you want to pick up any asset packs, this is a great resource for that and supporting the channel. Now I'm just going to hop into the level and ramble for a little bit. Okay, we're going to do this video a little different because I just have a ton of footage of placing down assets into time-lapse, and it just becomes a lot. It's too much for one video. So instead we're gonna do it a little bit different. We're just gonna have little blips of time-lapse popping up, like probably around here. And in the meantime, we're gonna just kind of explore this finished level and kind of talk about the thought process that went into making something like this. Just for demonstration purposes, let's try and find it. This pack is so funny. They did not need to do this. So people get upset with me, and for good reason, when I call environment art level design and use that interchangeably, because this is environment art, not level design, because it's not meant to function at all. As soon as you leave all the controlled angles, none of this works. They even made it a hover car. How fun is that? But that's the idea. If you're going to actually do level design, you want to be planning things out, gray boxing, sculpting out the area, thinking about the game flow, and making sure it works from every angle. For something like this, where you're just trying to get cinematic shots, it's about like controlled angles. My thought process going into this was like, one, I wanted to explore the pack itself. I'd never used these assets, and so a lot of it was just sort of dragging out pieces, getting inspired by that piece, and building out a scene around it. Like, we head back in here, we've got this brain hologram, and that's what I started with and just went all around it and built this little plaza just to sort of complement that piece. Everything's going to come out better if you have some sort of reference or sketch or plan, but certain settings, like something like Cyberpunk or Ruins, it can almost benefit from the chaos of just riffing. A setting like this allows you to sort of just make it up as you go and let the assets sort of flow one to another. It's so hard to talk about because it's like, trying to not talk in circles here. This is hard. I don't know how people commentate and do things. So beyond just exploring the assets themselves, it was also about finding angles to make things feel bigger than they actually are. If you're looking this way, it feels like this just keeps on going, but really it immediately feels more flat, And as we've established, all of this is just playing perspective. It's like when you go to Disney and they have all that forced perspective with like small castles to make them seem like they're further away. That is all we're doing. Once I had built a little bit of street and understood like where the camera was going to be, what was going to be occluded by up close buildings, then it was just about like staying at street level and then covering up that horizon. It's like just a bunch of different compositions. You've got this composition here, which was really intentional. Like I liked this shape created by the building, so I didn't want to lose that. But as you come inwards, then you've got this sort of composition here. A lot of it is sort of like calling a shot after you made the shot. A lot of it sort of emerges accidentally, but I think in the back of my head, at least, at all times, I'm sort of looking for these, you're just looking for creative shapes. When I was looking this way, I was noticing that the skyline was too flat, so that's why I added in this building. You definitely get into like a sort of a flow state. Here's something we can talk about, was like finding common detail. Because this building here, I think it fits in with the rest of the block, but if you look at the original little like base prefab they had, as you can see, it's actually like really low poly and kind of sticks out up close. Like that's some Gmod type graphics. by using it as a base and kit bashing on top of it using these other pieces and assets, it kind of marries the whole thing together, and also having a base like that creates these unique shapes that you might not have gone with originally. What else is there to talk about? The way I built this in terms of like going in straight with the final assets piece by piece originally is not like the most effective way to do this, especially from like a time standpoint. If I was going for speed, I would have definitely wanted to gray box the level and then sort of bring it up to a level of detail uniformly, if that makes sense. But what I was doing as I was building is, I would have this building half complete, and then, I would focus on like the little bits of detail. Jumping around like that between going to the minute detail back to the big macro detail isn't the most effective way to do it, but it also gives you a feel for like what you're making as you're making it. I think that's useful because it's, especially with kit bashing, you're almost trying to like immerse yourself more into the scene as you build it so that your brain starts like working in those mental pictures. I'm assuming everyone watching this is art folks, so I imagine you understand how difficult it is to actually like explain what happens while we make stuff. Don't look that way because I forgot to cover it up. Hopefully some of this dialogue and commentary is usable. Might have just been random. I don't know how to end this part of the video. I've been so busy with projects outside the channel, I haven't been able to really publicly share my messings around with Dragonfly since like a few months ago at this point. So Dragonfly is very cool. It's a virtual camera program which is basically allowing you to track like a phone or an iPad in your scene as a camera. And nothing's gonna really replace the actual handheld camera motion. I've done a lot of videos of like camera shake tracks, and the real motion just adds such a realism to your scenes. It's hard to beat. This program's great for it. It's got all kinds of controls to actually adjust your recorded motion after the fact, attach your camera to moving objects, adjust the bokeh effects, and there's a lot more I want to do with it, but for this we're keeping it pretty simple just to get these cool first person, almost like found footage type shots. On top of that, there's also different camera settings built in, and these presets are fun to work with, especially the Super 8 setting, which really lended well to what we were going for in this video today. Now, to really drive this home, I wanted it to have a sort of like early 2000s or like late 90s home video feeling, and to do that we're using some of last month's, or I guess this month's, they're going to be free for like 3 more days as of posting this video, but this VCR effect we're going to apply to the video to give it that final push to that like film effect. Oh, that's kind of cool. So once I'd adjusted the effects, they all came together, and you're now seeing the view through my phone. And it's really weird to be able to see and navigate an Unreal Engine project on an iOS device like this. Anyways, with this setup, I'm able to literally just record like I'm shooting a video on my phone. Since we've done all the work up front of like building the set, if you will, it's really just a delight to get these shots afterwards. So I did that a lot, ended up getting like 90 shots, and I've whittled it down to just this following montage. Let's hop into that reel.